And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray, and welcome as we start another Friday. What is that? What is that song that's ringing in my head? Where, oh, where are you tonight? Odie. Odie is on the lam this morning. We hadn't heard from him. We hope he'll make it in. I got a sneaky suspicion Odie may have overslept. I'm just thinking out loud here. Coming up this morning, we got a special guest. We'll be finding out more about the school issue that's going on. A school bond out there that's going to be voted on before long. Mr. Caine is in the house, our superintendent. He's going to explain things. Mark Caine is who I'm talking about. If you've heard a lot of talk about this, we'll get into it this morning. The breakdown of when the election will be, will it pass? He'll give everything that he knows so you, the voter, can choose. That's what we'll do there. So y'all buckle up and get ready as we begin this. Let's see, as we start today, let's get into a few things. And as I mentioned a moment ago, I got a message just a little bit ago that we do have a fire. Let me go back to this. I didn't get a chance to type it out. But a bush hog has struck a line. They were bush hogging this morning. This is going to be on the 3500 block of Old Lauderdale Road near Highway 45. Bush hog hit a power line, knocked it down. It sparked and has caused a grass fire. We do hope that it is out at this point. So y'all keep that in mind this morning if you're in that area. A lot of things happened around 6 o'clock this morning. I got another message that this was going on. If you've been down 8th Street before, let me, my ducks aren't all in a row, so let me go here and pull this up here as we go back here. But a car wash on fire as we pulled this up this morning. This happened. It's M&M Car Wash there on 8th Street. This would be just right down from Burger King. The Texaco sits here. This is where the Carousel Apartments sit right there. That caught on fire. Now, we do not know what caused the fire at this point, but the Meridian Fire Department police arrived on scene, and I know flames were even coming out the back of the building. It's not sounding good for the structure. That place has been there forever and a day, and I think it's been several different businesses through the years, but that's the way it is as we start this morning out. We'll learn more about that as daylight breaks and we get some information coming in from the Meridian Fire Department. Let's see, as we look at this tragedy, how many folks this morning do we have watching from the Carthage area as we find out that a overnight wreck has taken place and we go there. Now, this involves a four-wheeler and a pickup truck. The four-wheeler had 2 occupants on it. One has been airlifted to a hospital. One person is deceased after it came in contact with a pickup truck. No names have been released at this point. Mississippi Highway Patrol was on scene along with volunteer fire departments, and we sincerely send out condolences. That horrible news. And this happened on into the night hours. This was not right at dark 30 or anything. This was way after dark that this accident happened. We don't know the reason for the four-wheeler being in that area. So we'll watch all of this, and as more information comes available, we'll pass that along to you also. We did have an overnight structure fire also. Let's go here and take the fire department's been extremely busy, and I would think in most areas. I know that Clark County had a few yesterday as well. Here we go as we go down to the 200 block of C Street. A home caught on fire there also. Meridian Fire Department got on. So this was an abandoned house is what this was. And I'm hearing that fire investigators have come in. Could this be arson? Could be. That has not been proved yet, but investigators have been called in. If you'll remember, we've had a string of this through the years. Abandoned homes. People take it upon themselves. I don't know whether they like to watch fire, what the cases is, or they're just being mean or want to get rid of a structure in their neighborhood. But things like this do go on. And a few years ago, you can go to jail over this. So don't be throwing matches thinking you can get away with it. They will track you down. Now, let me have everybody's attention that is watching this morning from the Kewanee area. What's going on? I know y'all saw all the police, Mississippi Highway Patrol, Alabama there, Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department yesterday. Let me pull this up as we'll give you a bird's eye view of my painting of the way I think it looked last night. Ooh, what's that? Dogs, cars, drones, all of that was in the area as police arrived on this. It was a car chase that came into Lauderdale County from Alabama. Sumter County Sheriff's Department was chasing a stolen car. Now, we don't know the circumstances behind the car being stolen, but we do know that as they got to Kewanee and went to take the ramp exit, it was an accident, wrecked the car. He didn't wait for police to catch up to the car. He jumped out and ran into the woods in front of the Kewanee truck stop. Now, if you're familiar with that area, it's swampland. It's very bad. And I understand from locals that, yep, there's gators in those bushes. Now, the Mississippi Highway Patrol did get within a few feet of him at one point, and then he escaped again. He is still on the loose at this morning. So I say this, if you live in that area, be on the lookout. You never know if you see something strange on your cameras or somebody walking through your yard, contact police. And the best way to do that without remembering numbers is just call 911, call them and let them know, hey, I've got a suspicious person around my home. Will you please come out? Because we don't know what this guy else he's done. You don't know whether they're innocent. You don't know what crimes they could have committed. So I always take anybody that has done this as very dangerous. You should treat them that way also. Y'all remember a few months ago, was it a year ago, those guys that jumped out the back of the bus over there and made it to Newton? They were like MS-13 members. Serious stuff. I'm not saying this person is, but he is running from the law, and a lot of times they do not want to go to jail or go back to jail. I'll word it that way. The only description that I have of the person, it's a black male, possibly wearing all black clothing. Now, again, it was dark on the clothing. I can't be 100%. I think he started out with a ball cap. He probably lost that as in the brambles and the briars at some point. But be on your lookout there as we get into that. Also, we're going to talk about what went on in Philadelphia. They've made a big arrest. I tell you what, you don't fool around in Philadelphia, Neshoba County. They got plenty of handcuffs, and they're not scared to share them. An arrest has been made there. As Scott said, might be lost in the bog there. Also swamps, mosquitoes, and it is alligators out there. I don't know why we don't have open season on that all the time. I'm scared of them things. You go to, anybody ever walked out to Oak Tibby, been walking around there, and it kind of follows you along the water as you're walking? It's going like your meal, you're my lunch. It spooks me. So something to keep in mind. We've had a lot of other events coming up. And let me, before we get into some serious business here in a moment, let me just go ahead and say this. We need prayers for Lauderdale County. We lost a life last night. Let me pull up this visual of where all of this happened last night. This would be Rabbit Road is where this happened. This would be in the neighborhood of the 10,000 block. A mobile home caught fire last night. As firefighters arrived on the scene, and we did have Lauderdale, we had Samdale and Northeast Volunteer Fire Departments arrive, power companies, Sheriff's Department, all on scene. There was one person that was unaccounted for, and I'm being told it was a 13-year-old. Lost their life in this fire. We don't know any other details other than that at this point. That should be coming out today, but Clayton Cobbler confirms that one person did lose their life. Now, there's a lot of people this affects. You can only imagine how firefighters feel when they arrive and can't save someone. We also have to think of the family members that are going to be affected by this. I'm not sure you ever get over this. And then as you go to school and you combine the children that knew this youngster, they're going to be devastated. It's horrible. It brings a tear to my eye. I'm not going to lie about it. It hurts to have to tell these things. So as a community, I highly suggest we pray, because some prayers need to be lifted up and some people taken into thought here. I wish I had the words that would soothe people. I don't. Prayer is the only answer for any of this. The good Lord up above fixes things like this. There's a reason, and we don't know why. And I know you've heard that all your life. There's a reason something happened. Well, I'm sure there is. But for those left behind, it sure is hard to determine sometimes. We'll be right back as we start your morning. More headlines, and we'll find out more about the school. What's coming? We'll find out next.
Patrick Allen Companies services and repairs all brands of overhead doors, residential and commercial. Our service technicians are factory trained and have over 125 years of combined experiences. At Patrick Allen Companies, we are not interested in being the biggest, just the best. We are just 4 miles south of Meridian on Highway 145. Patrick Allen Companies, safety, service, and satisfaction.
J&J Tire and Muffler, located at 3420 8th Street, invites you by. And if you need a front-end alignment, make sure to try their new state-of-the-art alignment machine. No matter the size of your truck and car, J&J can align it. J&J also has touch-free mounting, laser wheel balancing, and as always, they provide preventive maintenance, including CV axles, shocks, struts, brakes. And they even do work on motorcycles. With the largest selection of new and used tires, along with exhaust systems. Locally owned and operated since 1978 in Meridian.
For something as vital as your eyes, you should have your lenses and contacts made with the utmost care and precision. And that's what Grayson Optical does on 24th Avenue. Since 1996, Grayson Optical's mission has been to provide Meridian and surrounding areas with quality eye care products. That's why we're locally owned and operated. And don't forget, custom-made sunglasses like Costa for your eyes only. When you need to see clearly, Grayson Optical. 2021 24th Avenue, Meridian. 601-693-6374.
And welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. As we remember this, do y'all remember a couple of days ago where we brought up Orlando, to where they had these new buses they were going to try, and they put them out on the street, and they drive themselves, go around, pick you up. And I said, I'm not so sure I want to ride that. What is this? I read it in the headlines this morning. Rump Row. Oh, it's had its first wreck. It crashed 2 days after they launched it. I'm not sure I'm ready. Technology is great when it works wonderful, but sometimes it has issues. Hey, has anybody noticed that we've had a lot clearer signal lately? I want to say a big shout out to EMEPA as we have switched to new internet service. Yep. It's a lot stronger, a lot faster, and we do appreciate them coming out and running that across the yard and under the driveway and all the way up here to the building. We can't thank y'all enough. All right, let's hit these cameras over here. Who is this hiding? Look at here. Mark Caine, how in the world are y'all doing? Let me put this where you can see yourself here. How about that?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Look,
hey, we're doing well. Happy to be here.
Slide a little bit to the right there. We didn't look at all of our pictures the other way, to your other left. There you are. Now we can see you there. Now, as we're getting ready for this, there's lots of talk. You have made some headlines in the Meridian area here. People saying, "Where's Mark Caine? I want to hear from him." Yeah. And I got to give you credit. You've showed up. You didn't tuck and run, did you?
No, sir. We know it's a big issue for the people of Lauderdale County, and we want them to be as informed as possible about making decisions. As a school people, we bring out there what we think is the best for students and the ideas and suggestions that we had to move forward to build a stronger workforce here, and then ultimately we take it to the people and they get to decide.
First off, let's start in the beginning. Let's talk about what the center will provide. Let's go over the positives here, and then we'll get into what people are asking me, and I'm sure what they've asked you.
Sure.
Let's start there and work our way.
Well, I'm gonna let Rob go because he is our go-to guy of what this center actually is, and we've hired Rob to come on and really kind of spearhead this, and he's the expert. So Rob, what do we got?
Well, thank y'all again for having us this morning, and this conversation goes a lot further back than even when I came on board a year and 2 months ago, I guess. Right. It is. It goes back to really a strategic plan back in 2019. Isn't that right, Dr. Caine?
That's right.
Some of the very beginnings of that strategic plan, and that's accessible that anybody could pull and see. Career technical education and making a higher caliber career technical education program for our district was high priority, not only by our district but by the stakeholders that were actually involved in that meeting, taking a part of that, and that comprised of community leaders, business leaders, a lot of stakeholders in our community. So it's been a conversation going on for a while.
So, as we get into this, the classes, let's talk about what it will offer students that have never been. And I know that Ross Collins exists, but not everybody has gone there. This will be easier for the county students to use, correct?
Right.
Correct.
Right. But
Tell us a little bit about what classes. Here.
Sure. And speaking of that, I thought we kind of mentioned it last time. We're not duplicating what's going on at Ross Collins. We're expanding career technical education for all students in Lauderdale County, including Meridian, and others. But some of the great programs, exciting programs that we have going in, and one of the things I'm most excited about is an aviation program that we've got going in. And by the way, we'll be the very first secondary school in the state of Mississippi to put this program in. All the research is done with the Research and Curriculum Unit at Mississippi State. They've done the research. We have determined the need in our community, and we could go into a long story about how we need it in our community. We've got a lot of that base in our community. But that's going to be anywhere from airplane mechanics to actually learning to fly an airplane. I mean, that's. Did you know that you could get a pilot's license before you can even get a driver's license in Mississippi?
And it is a huge shortage of pilots.
It is.
And mechanics.
And mechanics, it is. As we know that the base is a big place for people to do this.
right.
They repair them. But as you look at all of this, each day is when you're looking at this, and there's cancellations. Why? We don't have enough pilots. I forget which one it was. Blue something. I forget the name of the corporation, the airline. But,
Blue Jet.
yeah, Blue Jet. They simply did not have the pilots to fly everybody our last holiday, and so flights got canceled. I don't know where this is going, but also we want them to be well trained, don't we?
Right.
Yeah, you don't want a D student.
No, absolutely. You want a straight A student.
That's right.
And another thing that I have always stressed, and I want to grab the attention of anybody that's watching me that has a private plane. Say your company's got one. That's real nice and dandy. Don't you put one person up there.
Yeah.
He can get sick. And then the 8 people that's sitting in the back, it doesn't work out so well for. Always have 2 pilots. A co-pilot to help because you don't know. You get an upset stomach. It could be an issue up there, couldn't you?
Sure.
That's what happened to Wagner out there.
Yeah, it sure is.
So that's one exciting program going in, and another one that we've got going in. And by the way, all of these programs are based on a lot of research and data that has been done in this area. Data from the Mississippi Economic Council, from Accelerate Mississippi, and even from speaking to local stakeholders and industry folks. Matter of fact, Lockheed Martin is the one that began the conversation on this aviation program. So they got that ball rolling and started, and have been a great partner in the decision process of it so far. Advanced manufacturing is another one that our local data says that we need. That's going to be a degree of welding, PLC training, CNC training, everything it takes to critically think and problem solve on a very advanced manufacturing floor. Another one that we're putting in is agricultural power, which is going to be in conjunction with Kubota, who has decided to put in a training center here in our area. And I really like this plan of being able to have industry up front when we put a program in. They say what their need is, and we put a program in according to what local needs are.
Now, is this Kubota in general, or is this going to be more Parish doing this on their own? Who is contributing here?
The conversation started with Parish. I went over to Parish Tractor, and by the way, they're building a new facility less than a mile away from our building, so we're going to be right next to one another. So it started there, and then they started kicking the conversation to the corporate office in Mississippi, and then they kicked it over to the corporate office in Texas. So it's really more of a national thing. We had all the Mississippi bigwigs here, as well as folks from Texas at one point having this conversation about the program.
Well, that part's good.
It is.
Now, will their donation, what will they do? Will they give cash? Will they give equipment? What is it that they will do on a national level?
So there is specific Kubota training equipment that will be necessary to train for their particular thing, but we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves to the point that our students aren't leaving our program capable of going to other places as well, like John Deere, and we don't want to leave our other industry partners out. You know? So we're going to keep our curriculum at our level to a point to where it's a little more generic, mixed in with some of the things from Kubota, but also offer the 100 national certification with Kubota. But it'll be so ingrained with what they're doing at Meridian Community College in the post-secondary side that it's going to be a seamless transition from secondary to post-secondary education. meaning that if they want to take it to the next level with Kubota and get that 200 and 300 national certification, they'll just leave our program right into the post-secondary program at Meridian Community College.
So they offer that.
Yes, and they're going to. They're building it now. We're both building those programs at the very same time. So as they're building theirs, we're building ours, completely infused together.
And as you brought up the airline, let me ask this. Has any of the airlines offered to, hey, let me bring a flight simulator in to where it would save taxpayers money? Has anybody done that? Or what are we looking at on that?
That conversation hasn't happened with a particular airlines for sure. I mean, all of our local partners, the air base, the air refueling wing, they've all said we're in. We're in to help and provide whatever needed to make this access for our students.
I think it's important to note that aviation program is really brand new.
It is.
In Mississippi.
Right.
Like it's not something that currently exists to my knowledge. And as Rob pointed out, we'll be one of the first, or not one of the first, to have that program within the center. So, I mean, we're taking some steps that said that the local information, state information, people that do this for a living say this is the need, this is what's coming around the pipe of what we're seeing, where we're going to continue to lack in workforce and interest. We've got to start plugging in people into these positions, or what's going to happen to those industries in this area.
Do we? And I ask this solely because I don't know. A flight simulator, like I know out at MCC, they have a truck driving a simulator. What would a flight simulator cost? What does a piece of equipment like that cost? Is this affordable, or is it just majorly high?
It's a very pricey piece of equipment. Now, again, we haven't even seen the curriculum yet. It's being, like I said, the research has been done on it. I met with some state leaders just the day before yesterday. They're ready to, no pun intended, pilot the program with us.
Well, you sat up all night and thought of that one, didn't you?
Yeah, didn't I? That was a good one. But we're going to be piloting this thing, and we're going to be building it for the secondary side. So as far as an equipment list, honestly, I haven't seen that yet. It hasn't even been developed. We've got to figure out what we need to flame the passion of students on the secondary level so that they go on to the next level. And by the way, Meridian Community College is building an aviation program too, while we're infusing all of this together. So what we desire in this center is to see a seamless transition from students in secondary all the way through post-secondary. We don't want there to be a lax in programming from one to the other, if that makes sense.
Right. And the reason that I focus on this is just merely we look at budgets, and the taxpayer wants to know, okay, this is wonderful, but if we were to have an industry come in and pay for this part, then the taxpayer would lighten the burden. That's why I was going there. And that's within y'all's budget. I was trying to get to how much is allocated for that.
I understand. And I think it's important to know that anytime we build something or bring this together, we're getting it started. And I think the success of it is what breeds in the support and ongoing support. And, then you start bringing in a whole lot of industries, airline, whatever. As you grow these programs, they want to be involved in it. They want to be even more involved in it.
Right.
Because they know you're growing their next employee.
That's true.
So we're trying to get it going, get it off the ground, and then obviously the success of this we think will continue to yield support and interest from those that benefit.
And if I might bring up a point along that same line, the reason we're infusing things together with post-secondary is so that we can share our resources. We have divided our resources for too many years. I think I might have brought up an example of welding at Ross Collins. They go through our welding program, and they duplicate the same equipment on the post-secondary side at Meridian Community College. So they finish with us at Ross Collins, and they go on to Meridian Community College and have already done everything. So by combining our resources together, if Meridian Community College gets a flight simulator, we just go use that. We just hop on a bus and go across town and use the simulator over there. So we're trying to be a better steward of our resources by joining ourselves together in this manner.
All right, let me interrupt this, and I just got this in. We have an accident, minor injuries, Highway 19 and Wildcat southbound lanes are blocked right now, and we're going to get the pictures put up of this. We've got looks as though two service trucks, so to speak, two Chevrolet pickup trucks. Don't let me lie, one's a Ford, one's a Chevrolet. We'll get this posted here in just a moment, but Highway 19, we'll get these pictures up and all the information here in just a moment.
I was praying you were not going to say school bus.
Yeah, thank goodness it's not.
That's right.
We'll be right back as we find out more about this, and we'll ask some tougher questions of what everybody wants to know up and coming.
True.
Our local headlines are brought to you by the Rock House Gun and Pawn.
Are you looking for a job that could last a lifetime? Structural Steel is hiring now. With employees that have been there from 20 to 40 years, they're family owned and operated since 1975. Competitive starting wages, a 401k package, and great insurance. Immediate openings on the day shift and night shift. From entry-level helpers, welding and tacking, grinding and fitting. And the list goes on of job openings. Start your future today at Structural Steel. Call 483-5381. Philadelphia Gun and Pawn, located at 910 Posey Avenue, has tons of lawnmowers to choose from. A big selection of zero-turn lawnmowers, power washers, and even barbecue grills. Step inside the store and see their complete line of Liberty safes along with those Browning safes. A large selection of Louis Vuitton purses along with satin shirts and bead sets. And tons to choose from for the outdoorsman in your household. And always a great deal on any type of jewelry you're looking for. And a private lobby for pawns for your confidentiality. Philadelphia Gun and Pawn. And welcome back as we begin this Friday morning. And don't forget to wear your red as we support our troops no matter where they are. I spoke with Odie's wife. She said he's a very tired young man. He got in late from an emergency situation last night. Specifically the home that burned, and he was there most of the night and couldn't make it in this morning. So Odie will be back on his feet here in just a little while as he recovers from that event that happened last night. As we go back to this, and let's switch cameras and we go back across the room here as we talk about what's going on. The next question, let's talk about budget. Mm-hmm. Originally, y'all been given $8 million from the state of Mississippi.
Correct.
Am I correct in saying that it was originally budgeted that this was going to cost around $12 million?
Yeah, it's a good, fair question. So we went to the legislature and basically pitched the idea. This is what we wanted to do. They got to right there at the finish line where they get to kind of appropriate funds for projects that they think are worthy, and they get to support. So this is not something just everybody got or received. And they said, well, we can give you $8 million, which was at that time the most ever received from any school for this type project. Now, keep in mind, we didn't have any plans, we didn't have any drawings, we didn't have any renderings. We just said, what's a good start to get this thing moving? So we got $8 million to move forward that. So then we went to the construction phase of things. And then we also started seeing the price of everything that they're imaginable to construct something like this creep up. So $8 million was, man, we thought we were really in really great shape for that. And then so we got the construction costs, we got things back, and that estimate that you mentioned is pretty close on the construction side.
Of the $12 million.
The construction, correct, yeah. I'm being limited in how much I say because things still need to go out for bid. So we want to be fair to those that get to bid and that. So that number is pretty close, that accurate number is in getting a project built. Then you have to outfit the project. You have to outfit it with equipment. Then you have to, which is when you get into career and technical education, equipment is expensive. When you look at the culinary component itself, we have a lot of great restaurants downtown, and if you go to ask any of those guys what they spend on cooking equipment in there, they're going to tell you it's pretty pricey.
No, it's very.
And so by the time you look at everything that's needed to have an active functioning kitchen, you're probably right about $1 million. I think we've got a local vendor here that could probably vouch for that to tell you that's about exactly what it's going to cost. So just the equipment in one program is an additional $1 million.
Now, when you get into lathes and things of that nature, I'm sure that. And the next question, and I have to be, and let me just be point blank of the numerous phone calls that I've gotten. All right. We have $12 million there, and how much money are we asking for now? How much is the bond? How much more money are you asking for?
So the bond would authorize us up to $12.5 million.
So we got 8 and then 12, so it'd be $20 million roughly.
So let's back up. 8 was what we were able to appropriate from the legislature.
Okay.
Well, we did purchase the building from Mr. Peavy. That was a little over $1 million.
Okay.
And then after that, there's been some testing, environmental things like that. Probably another $500,000 of things that red tape, honestly. So what does that leave us, around 6.5, something like that? So, so there we are with that. But the bond would authorize us up to $12.5 million because, as I said, nothing's went out for bid yet. And so really we can estimate and we can put numbers on things, but until we get bid numbers back, it's really hard to put an exact number on something. So
right. The question that I keep getting asked on that is, okay, the taxpayer is kind of burdened here. Mm-hmm. Can we back off and not add as many classes on this and add them later to cut the cost down to where we don't have to ask the taxpayer for as much or money at all?
Fair question. And it really goes back to what impact do we want to have and how fast do we want to have it? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. In my experience in construction, anytime that you half do it or third do it or three-quarter do it, and then you come back and do it again, you end up paying double what you were going to pay the first time. That's just what I've seen. And
so you're saying get it done, build it at one time, get it taken care of.
That is our approach, and obviously the voter will have a big say in that on October 3rd. If they think, no, we don't want to bite that off right now, we want to take it in phases, then, we'll have to back up and say, okay, how big of a phase are we going to do? What's it going to include? But if they say, no, this is too important to delay on, we need it now, our city needs it now, our county needs it now, our kids need it now, we're ready to go full blow with it, get it done, and what we think will make a huge impact in our county.
All right, we got more questions coming up. Y'all don't rush off. And if you've got a question, please put it in the comments here as we glance and we read as many as we quickly can. We're missing Odie's eyes this morning.
Yeah, Odie.
They're all knocked out right now. He's getting a little snooze time. But we got more questions coming up, and I know this is a big deal to a lot of people. They're worried. They want to know, and this is the time to ask these questions. If you've got one here you're watching, throw it out there so we can try to answer it. We'll be right back as we travel along this morning. Garrett Outfitters on 8th Street is getting you ready for summertime. A large selection of cool hobo shirts. Maybe it's short sleeves. Maybe you need a pair of shorts. If you're going to be cutting grass or maybe riding a tractor this summer, you're going to need a straw hat to keep cool. And as you head to that favorite fishing hole, don't forget you'll need a pocket knife along with a great rod and reel. And if you earn your living in the woods, don't forget to check out their big selection of snake boots, Carhartt pants and shirts for any occasion. It's Garrett Outfitters, 3505 8th Street, Meridian. Summertime has arrived, and Freeman Tractor on Highway 494 has the exact lawnmower for your need. If you've got a big yard with acres and acres to mow, they have a mower for that. No matter the size yard you have, Freeman Tractor has the lawnmower that fits you and your budget. From 48-inch all the way up to 60, or the X-Mark lawnmower. Plenty of these to choose from. Also, they carry a complete line of LS tractors. Come by for a test drive today. Financing available. Drop in today to Freeman Tractor, Highway 494, see coleslaw or buttermilk. Have you been wanting your own building, your own shed? Speak to our friends at Best Sadia Building, 601-728-1954. Now, they can custom build you a home from a barn dominium. Maybe it's a shed that you're needing, or a simple place to park your car, a garage, a camp house. Maybe you need a place to park your tractor, your motorcycle, or even that lawnmower. They can custom design whatever it is you need. Quality work, trustworthy, Best Sadia Buildings. Speak with Drew, 601-728-1954. And welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. It is Friday morning. We do hope that each of you feeling good. And let me warn y'all, this is going to be not hot, but extremely hot today. We're already into the 80s right now at 7:30. We're expecting a high of 102. There is a smidgen of a chance of rain between 4 and 5 this afternoon. They're giving it 30% chance. With that being said, we've got a high of 102 today. Our heat index will climb to 113. Now, it's not rocket science to figure out that this could hurt you. If you've got to do anything, make sure you take care of that before 9 o'clock. It gets really hot after 9. Wait till late if you have to do something after that. It's just not worth. You can pass out in a heartbeat from this sweat. I changed a tire the other day. I had a flat, and let me tell you, in a yellow shirt, it just didn't work out too well. Grease everywhere. I was rough looking. And if you can't do something like that, call somebody that can help you. Don't overdo yourself. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's what it amounts to. It's bad hot out there. Plenty of liquids. Drink that. Electrolytes, Gatorade, things of that nature. And if all else fails, go find a Coca-Cola. It'll help you calm down. Being cool is quick. I helped a man about 5-6 years ago that got overheated, passed out. Cool them down as quickly as you can and get them, because it's almost like a stroke. You get disoriented. You don't know where you are, and you can't answer questions. I don't know if you've ever been around anybody that has gone through this before, but it's tough. Keep it in mind, we've got burn bans in effect. We've got heat stress all out there. So there we go. As we go back, learning more about this is Lauderdale County Schools. The next big question, let's just jump into this.
Sure.
All right. We're looking at the election October the 3rd.
Right.
The next big question is, we have an election coming up in November. From what I understand, depending upon how it's done, we would save somewhere between $20,000 to $50,000 not having the election on October, but waiting till November. Why are we moving forward with this before then?
Well, I'm going to go back to two reasons. One is we working with a bond attorney who does this for a living for schools and municipalities and county governments all over the state. Our own board of supervisors uses the same gentleman, and it was his advice. Hey, you need to have a separate election. Typically, these elections do better on when they're not on a general ticket. His advice was to move forward with an election off the general ticket.
All right, and let me add to that.
Sure.
You contradict me if you want to. It's his job to see that it gets passed.
Okay.
That's the way I take
All right.
that, which means it's going to be less of a voter turnout on October the 3rd.
Okay.
And the average Joe is it's going to be real low in November too. It's not going to be as much as that first round. But is that fair? And I say, because I've had the word sent to me, that's cloaking it. It's kind of like hiding it.
Right.
And then you factor in having it at a school and not at the normal voting regular places that people would go to.
Right.
Is that really fair to the taxpayer?
Well,
or is that an attorney doing what he does best?
Yeah. So let's say I think voters have a right to vote. They know, they get every time there's an election, they find out where their precinct is and they go vote. If it's an issue they're passionate about, they go vote. So I don't think anybody's being barred from voting.
No, I'm not saying that.
So they still have access to the voting precinct to vote on the issue that they care about, if they're in support of it or if they're against it. I think what it does, and what I've been told, is that it puts an issue on a ballot that is very clear. Yes, I support this. No, I don't. So a lot of people talk about, well, it's going to be confusing, but if you're on a general election ballot and you've got all these runoff names, and then you're going to vote for the gentleman that you feel is the best for one of these other positions that's voting, running in your county for a position, and that's the real reason you're going to vote. And then you see this down there at the bottom, it says school bond, yes, no, and you may not be fully aware of what that means or what it includes to. So the other side of that coin is, by having a separate election of this, you have a voter that's coming in that specifically knows the issue that they're going to vote for. Yes, I support this. No, I don't. I'm not just going in there to look for a name of maybe a candidate that's running for something that I like and I'm really going to support. I'm going in there to vote yes or no on this. That's one.
Couldn't we use that, whatever that amount is? And I really don't know. I asked and I got told several different figures. And couldn't we use that toward equipment and save that taxpayer a little bit more money?
So we're talking. You mentioned $20,000, I think. And
at the beginning, it could go anywhere from there upwards.
Yeah, and there's some confusion there. I would I've heard as well that a school bond election could be viewed as a separate election. And if it's viewed as a separate election, even if it was held on general election day, what would that require?
You're saying put it on a different...
No, I'm saying, is it legally required to be on a different...
No, it's not. I don't think it is legally required.
So I think we may need to maybe check on that. If it is, if there are legal standing that says that a school bond election is a separate election, what would that require, even during a general election? I'm not saying the same ballot. I'm saying if it's deemed as a separate election, would there be any cost there? So maybe something to look into. But the second issue of why we're doing it in the time that we're doing it is based on the architect. We've seen nothing but lead time delays, and everything. People say, well, what's taking so long here? What's taking so long there? I mean, you've got millions of dollars that are coming through a lot of these projects that are getting finished, been on the books, and you've got engineers, architects, all of them are pushed up to these calendar deadlines that they've got to get stuff done, money appropriated by a certain time. So they're out, and then you've got HVAC. They're saying 40, 52 week out lead times on, and then on electrical panels, you get the same answer. And so there's only 2 times you can start school. That is after Christmas break and after summer break. So,
true.
Right. So in order for us to meet the timeline that we want to meet to get this thing going, based on where we are in the planning process, architect says we cannot wait. If we're going to meet a January 25 start date, if y'all roll this over, there's no way we're going to meet that date. And so we're listening to the 2 people that do this for a living, as you mentioned,
right?
A bond attorney and an architect that builds CTE centers all over the state, have done it, and just recently finished one over in Decatur. So we have to go based on the information that we get from them too, and that's why we brought it at the time we did.
All right, more coming up with Mark Caine as we get into this morning of the questions that you want to know. And I think it's important that we ask these questions beforehand. I don't want anybody ever to think, well, I wasn't told about this. We want to give you absolutely every opportunity to ask before you go vote. And, of course, Mark will talk to you. If you'll call his office, leave a question, I'm sure he'll get back in touch with you. We'll be right back as we got more on the way this morning.
Hello, I am Justin J.J. Anders, and I'm running for Lauderdale County District 1 Supervisor. I would like to thank everyone who came out in the August 8th primaries and voted for me. But our work is not done. I still need your vote. There's a Republican primary runoff election on Tuesday, August 29th. The Board of Supervisors is the business board of Lauderdale County. I'm a businessman with years of proven business experience. Please remember to vote for me, Justin J.J. Anders, on August 29th. I'm asking for your vote.
Are you ready for summer? Massey has a 2021 Jeep Wrangler that's waiting on you with only 61,000 miles. How about a Rogue with 57,000 miles? A 23 Camry with only 50 miles on it? Or maybe it's a Toyota Tacoma 4-wheel drive that you're needing. From Silverados to F-250s, Massey Supermart Auto Sales, 1023 Highway 39 North.
Profit dealer, Massey Supermart.
Meridian's favorite barbecue is Squealer's Barbecue, named the barbecue capital for the state of Mississippi. Whether it's barbecue, wings, or burgers, Squealer's simply has the best for a family environment. Every Thursday night, there's live music out on the porch. Takeout orders are welcome, and whether it's your next tailgate or large catering event, your friends at Squealer's are there to help. Drop in for lunch today or
And welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. As we're already, 20 minutes before the top of the hour. Fastest hour on the internet, I guess we can say, since we're got thrown off some other networks. We do hope your morning is going well. You got a smile on when we face this. Now, we've y'all been helpful this morning as we ask questions. And let's get into our next hard question.
Sure.
All right. The next big question that I'm asked of this is how the money can be spent.
Right.
I think originally everybody were saying, well, I was told that it could only be spent at the center.
Yeah.
And then they're saying, well, I'm finding out that this money could be used at a school to replace something. And they don't seem to agree with that language, that it could be used as whatever the county thinks it's needed.
Yeah. And I want to be very clear about this. You know, as we talked about, we're trying to figure out what the final price tag is going to be on this. We think we've got a pretty good estimate on things. We've been dealt with straight, we think, from our architect about what we think bids would come in at, things. So the bond up to $12.5 million is a number that we think, if we need it, we can go there. Basically, it authorizes us to be able to do that. The language in the bond itself is straight from the state statute. I've read the state statute. I didn't write the notice of intent.
Doesn't have anything to do with you.
The attorney writes that. It is straight from the state statute that states where schools can do this process and the legal, rigmarole language that they use in those things. And I think that's one of the things that has brought some trepidation to people. Well, it says it can be used for this and this. That is straight statute language. And what we made sure that we emphasized in that, so there was no confusion, was I think it says including CTE building or CTE program building. And that's where we got to get done. That's project number one. That's what we're going to do. When we consolidate these programs from these other schools, and what we'll do is Rob's got a list of those programs. So if we take programs from Clarkdale and bring it to here, and then southeast to here, and then northeast, if we bring them here and put a program in here, we've got rooms there at those buildings that we're going to have to look at. Okay, so if we're taking an ag program out at one of our schools, all right, what are we going to do with that room? Okay, we could turn it into another CTE program. We could slide in and maybe use it as is. But if we look at it and say, hey, this room right here would be conducive to, what if we make it into another classroom for tutors or the counselor's office, or another classroom because we've got more students now, or a pre-K position, or do we want to turn this into our health science lab? Those are things that we would consider if there's money available after we get complete with the main project. So I really don't want to send the wrong message that we're sending this money to these pet projects or whatever on campuses. We're not doing that.
I think where this comes from, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is we sit back and we watch America, to where a bill goes to Congress, and then 50 senators in the background go, oh, $50 million, well, let me get my little project.
That's right.
And it's hidden in there, and the general public doesn't know.
I agree.
So what you're telling me is that's not going to happen with this.
That's not. I mean, even if you go back to the state language, there's a lot of things that you could include in there, like athletic facilities, all kind of that. And we made sure we stricken all that out of it because we want to be as very specific as we could. We want to make this money available to complete this project. And
so Mark gives his word here that this is not going to be used for something that does not
That's
deal
right.
with this.
And our board's committed to that. Our school board, from the very beginning, there was talks about should we add other things in this bond, should we include, and the consensus from our board was no. We want this money. If we're asking the public to go to vote on this and to authorize this money, we want this money to go toward this project. And and they were very clear about that. So this project is something that we think is the game changer for this area. And I can understand the cynicism. I mean, we've been promised projects in Lauderdale County for a lot of different places and a lot of different times, and a lot of them are still fields. But here we got something that's going to be open, impact, and change lives from day one. I think people say, well, we can't afford it. I think you're right. We can't afford not to do it. We can't afford not to do it because if you look around, what are our young people going to do? Are they coming back to Lauderdale County to work? And
I think there's a lot of people that can answer that and say, no, they're not.
They're not. If we look at the population of Lauderdale County over the last 10 years, what's it done?
It's failed.
It's failed. So I just ask, what are we going to do to create livelihood, to create careers, to create a place that our young people can come back to, work, thrive, and raise a family?
Good question there of putting that out there.
Yes, sir.
I think, and a lot of this comes from this. And let me say this for the general person that's watching. It goes, last year my land taxes went up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to say my home went up $400 a year on that. Well, then there was the max. When I go to get a hamburger now, I'm paying more. And honestly, do I think that will ever go away? I think it was a cap of some years put on that, but deep down, do I think that there will be another reason to continue that? I do. And people sit back and they go, I can't handle more.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No,
I'm not trying to make
I'm
you look
happy to
bad.
answer it.
What do you say to the person that's on that fixed income that this is going to hurt them? How do you explain that? And I know you're not a lawmaker. I'm not trying to.
Nor a financial advisor.
Right.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
I've been kind of watching some of the comments and questions on here. There's been a little conversation going on about, whether to send kids to college or trade school or vice versa. And I will. We don't have enough time really here to talk about that right now. And I'll go back and answer some of these questions myself later on. But I need to read some statistics to you.
Okay.
80% of students in our area graduate high school and go to college. Isn't that great news? Do you know that we are second in the nation in sending students to college? That sounds great, doesn't it? But let me couple that with another statistic. Only 30% end up with a post-secondary degree. Now think about that for just a moment. Averaging all ages, 25% of adults in Mississippi have a 4-year degree or above. Think about that just a second. We are number 49, right behind West Virginia, and the average goes up to 45.2 when you add a 2-year post-secondary degree and a 1-year certificate. So 54.8 of the population in Mississippi has no education or credentials past high school. Now, I get it when parents say, okay, let's send kids to college, all right? But I'm a product of a family or not a family. I had a very supportive family, but not one time in my high school career did anybody sit me down and say, what would you like to do the rest of your life?
No, I can't say I did either.
I didn't. I was just pushed out there with the expectation to go to college, and honestly, I didn't find my passion until about 2 or 3 years into college. But what happens is a lot of students are pushed in that same route, and they get into college, and they don't find their passion, and they end up dropping out. And here's some very poignant statistics in our area. 21.5% of the jobs in our area require high skill. That would be higher education degrees such as bachelor's and master's degree. And we're hitting that mark perfectly in our area. However, there are more workers than jobs in this category. Remember that 25% of our students are actually finishing college with a BA degree or above. Secondly, 9.6% of the jobs in our area require low-skill labor. These are students who have maybe dropped out of school, don't have any skill training in high school or skill training in post-secondary. Our local workforce locally is overrun with this workforce by 39.8%. So again, the workforce is 9.6, but the available workforce is 39.8%. Now let that kind of sink in for just a moment. So thirdly, 69.6% of the jobs in our area require middle skill labor. These are students who have skill training in both high school and post-secondary education, and only 39% of our workforce is available in this category. So that is where we're missing the mark. We're doing a great job on sending students to college and having high-skill, high-wage labor, but they're dropping out and going into low-skill jobs because they haven't found that passion.
Well, and I've also seen this, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong on this. Somebody goes off to school, they get this big degree, and they come back or they go somewhere, and the degree that they got is, I don't want to say worthless, but not usable in the real world. Do you know what I mean by that?
Well, and then they're under about, 6 figures of debt.
Right.
That they're trying to work out of.
And that's where we're sitting at the White House trying to pay off all these loans that people can't pay back. I think I thoroughly believe in trade school. I'm a winner in that because you take a plumber. You don't have to go 4 years of college. There's a lot of on-the-job training and learning these trades. People have to have these bricklayers.
Yeah.
People that do this, to linemen, the list goes on and on. What makes America work? Manufacturing. I think most people do agree that we do need this. The big question is about the money and how we're going about it. And y'all been real good about trying to explain where we are and what we've got.
Yeah, and I think our way forward is, and I'll just be blunt about it, is create new additional taxpayers, not tax burdens. We have to have students that come away with a skill that can help produce, help pay into the taxes that we owe for the services that we have. New businesses, entrepreneurs. If we grow our own and have these people here that are willing to work, go to work, pay their taxes locally, make a living here, it makes it better for all of us. And if we continue to let our best and brightest move along down the road, because somewhere down the road is offering the $60,000 job, or an internship, or a position at a company that we don't have here, where is it going to happen here? What's going to cause it to happen here? What has caused it to happen here thus far? So this is our approach to help that workforce number, that all this outside equity, all this outside industry that looks to come to Lauderdale County, Meridian, and we get real close and they say, and you read about it in the newspaper 2 weeks later that they're going to invest $10 million 40 miles away.
Tupelo gets a lot of our business. That does happen. More coming up as we discuss this morning. Y'all be careful. We'll be right back with more questions.
Your local farmer knows a good deal when he sees one. The L-Series Kubota tractor is the #1 selling compact tractor in the USA and offered at Parish Kubota with 0% financing available. Come see why we're more than a tractor store at Parish Tractor.
If every time the wind blows you get a little leery about a tree over your house, talk to my friends at Reed Tree Service. There's no reason to be worried about a tree crashing through your house. Mike Reed has years of experience dealing with trees. It can be as simple as having a limb removed or a tree that is just huge too close to your shop or house. It's not going to cost you anything to have Mike come out and give you an estimate. They're licensed and insured, taking care of East Mississippi and West Alabama. Reed Tree Service. Have tree, will travel.
Health Now is your locally owned medical equipment store. Every person's need is a little different, and they offer a little bit of everything from hospital beds, wheelchairs, reclining back wheelchairs, breathing treatments, CPAPs and supplies. They even have walkers, bath products, and oxygen. And the great thing about Health Now is they offer same-day service. They're open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and on call 24/7. Health Now Medical Equipment, where we treat our patients like family.
As we talk about vocation, here's a prime example of a guy here in Lauderdale County that took a vocational skill and turned it into a lifelong dream. Chet's painting body. And his handshake, as I've told you many times, is his work. He goes through, he does a fine job. Ask around. Don't just listen to Scotty Ray. Ask people that have used him. They're going to tell you it's one of the best there is. They give you a handshake, let you know when your car is going to be ready to put it back together. And it's good work. It's not you look out there and you go, well, my car is 3 different colors now. They're going to match it correctly, put it back. You're not going to have those rattles. Why? Well, Chet does a fantastic job. Visit with them today. You'll find them here in the West Lauderdale area, right there in the curve going toward the reservoir. Chet's Paint and Body for quality work and a handshake. Drop in today. They'll give you a quote, won't cost you anything, and they'll help you with all that insurance work that goes along with it. Now, as we mentioned earlier, there's been an accident on Highway 19. They probably are close to having this cleaned up this morning. As we go here to take a look, there's the scene that we've got on Highway 19 near Collinsville coming from Philadelphia. 2 work trucks involved here. We don't know what they were doing, if they were trying to get a biscuit or what happened, but an accident, minor injuries, and that shows a good look there of how that truck ran up underneath it. Thank goodness no other hard injuries involved with this. We're always thankful in situations like this. As we go back, I want to close with y'all giving your pitch to the Lauderdale County citizens of why they should vote for this, when they're going to vote for it, and just kind of an overall view of what's happening and how to do it.
Take it right.
Well, certainly the reason why to vote, and I hope we've given you as much good information as we can today from our mouths and our hearts, about this project. And I am really passionate about this, and I'm passionate about Lauderdale County, and I'm passionate about seeing us succeed in the future. Career technical education, in my opinion, is the way education ought to be. We got to quit thinking about separate, send students to college or trade school or this or that. We just need to help students find their passion, and let's work a pathway out to make that work. And this center is, and you need to think about it more than just a building. This is a big project, okay? This is a project that we're going to transform the way we do education in this county, with the hopes that the return of investment will be well worth it in the long run for this community, and it will turn around our slump in population. We've lost 8,300 something folks just over the past 10 years in this county because of various different reasons.
Right.
But available workforce is one. In industry, we always tend to come in second place, when industry is landing here. And it would not be feasible for an industry to land here when they look at the lack of available workforce and our slump in population that's happening. We've got to turn this ship around. And I really think if we dream big, we make a big plan, and we work our tails off, we can make this thing happen.
All right, when is the election?
Sure.
When is that going to happen?
Yeah, I think our attorney is finalizing things at the circuit clerk with Ms. Donna Gill. We're trying to get everything verified. That's why we're clear on precincts, and we have a very informational website that we're hosting all this on. The election itself will be October 3rd. It'll be at 4 different school zones, as you mentioned earlier. We'll be at the West Elementary campus. It'll be at Southeast Middle School campus. It'll be at Northeast Middle School campus, and then the Clarkdale campus. But we're working out the final details. You have to have that language just right.
Correct.
We want it to be accurate. We want it to be verified. Hopefully, we get that up, published, out, disseminated today or the first of next week. Again, working with Ms. Donna Gill to make sure all that's accurate, correct, so we can put that out, and we want it to be right the first time.
All right, we'd love to invite y'all back before this happens. I think
Yes,
it's
sir.
October 3rd. We'll get with you as that gets near to talk more about this as it gets close to us. And thank y'all so much for coming in and explaining all this.
Thank you for having us. And we did get confirmation that fire last night's going to be one of our students. So be in prayer for our people at Northeast Middle School.
And this is Northeast?
Yes, Northeast Middle School. And as you said, it's going to impact those kids and those teachers today, and obviously the family. So just lift those up in thoughts and prayers.
Absolutely. Our heart goes out to them. All the way around. Let me ask this before we go here. When's the next school break? Do you get out any for Labor Day?
Yeah.
Is it a day?
Yeah. It's a day. It's a day.
Do a little dance. We got that. Then Thanksgiving rolls around.
Yeah.
We get 2 days for that now? Or is that up?
No, we get a week. We're a week.
It was a day when I was in school. You got.
We move those days around, as long as we meet that 187. Well, they kind of let us 180.
And 2 weeks at Christmas, correct?
Yes,
where everybody
yes,
can be
sir.
together.
Yes, sir.
And then one final question: do you think that eventually that Lauderdale County will make that push toward what they call year round?
It's flex school, and which is 9 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I'll be honest, it's more expensive. And unless there's more funding from Jackson to support that, again, we talk about expense.
Right.
If we add expense, it has to come from somewhere, right? So I'm not a fan of it for that reason. But 2, there's a lot of lacking research currently on the academic impact of going to a calendar like that. So I'm not convinced.
You're not sold on it.
I'm not sold on it, right. And then we have a lot of people who truly enjoy going to the Neshoba County Fair in this area too.
Absolutely.
And then you've got Summer League Baseball with World Series and things. So then you start trying to figure out how you cope with that. And then you got to coordinate with your child care facilities. And
that's
then,
a big one.
And then your community colleges and universities that will start, on different schedules, So there's a lot of things that play into it, but no, I'm not sold on it.
You heard it first right here. We appreciate that, being honest about
Yes, sir.
that.
Yes,
It's kind of important there.
Yes, sir.
We've come to the conclusion of our show, and I hate that we don't have Odie here to do the mathematics of when we'll be back, but it's something like 73 hours or so. We'll be back with another morning show, bright and early Monday morning. We want you to stay safe. We'll be out and about, and as always, we'll be here behind the scenes telling you what's happening in our communities, whether it's Meridian, Philadelphia, no matter where the place is, we'll get that information to you. We can't do it without you. We do appreciate all of your input that you give us each and every day. And at the bottom line, God bless you. That's what makes the world go round. Without God, we can't do all of this. Each and every one of us here. Thank y'all so much, and we'll see you bright and early come Monday morning.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: